What is up, Creative Game? Welcome back to episode number 47 of In the Frame podcast. Today, we have Zeke and your co-host, Alberto Mendoza. First things first.
Get it. Cheers, man. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, guys.
It's good stuff. Guys, if you guys haven't, please give us a subscribe on YouTube. Hit the like button while you're at it. And if you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, I don't know how many other platforms are there. We're not on SoundCloud, right?
Nah.
Give us a follow while you're at it. But Zeke, dude, welcome to the podcast, dude. Welcome, dude.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So let's fucking get into it, dude. Like, how did you? I know you are a photographer based out of San Diego, but you are originally from Pennsylvania, correct?
Yeah, correct.
You want to give us a little bit of backstory of how you got into the creative space, or what do you do right now, and then how did you get to the creative space?
Got you. So I moved from Pennsylvania at the end of my senior year of college, and from there, I graduated with a cinema, television, and media degree.
Okay,
damn.
And then I stopped. I tried to do business for like a semester, and not my thing. It was cool. I mean, I learned a lot from that, but if you got to make a paycheck, you might as well do something you like doing.
Right.
I was not necessarily as passionate about.
It sounds easy to say that though, but like I feel like the majority of people don't follow that route where they just go with the job security and get in that comfort zone. And
yeah, I've seen too many people go down that path, and that's just not.
It's not you.
No, I don't care for that. Like sometimes you might have some low moments in business or whatever, but I mean, you have other months that like make up for like double that. So
right,
exactly.
It doesn't really bother me.
So you are a full-time freelance right now?
Yeah, full-time.
Okay, so you did say you went to what kind of school was it again?
I went to Kutztown University.
Okay,
and that's in Kutztown, Pennsylvania. It's in the middle of a cornfield. If that college wasn't there, there would probably be just more cornfields. That's about it. But,
and so you said you graduated in what field again? One more time.
I was cinema, television, and media production.
Okay. Nice. So
when I first started, it was called electronic media, which I was like, and every time you tell somebody that, they're like, "Oh, like what the hell is that?"
So what made you go to school for that? Like, what was your upbringing?
So from like a young age, I've always I think I got my like first digital camera when I was, I want to say maybe like 7 or 8 years old.
Okay.
I got like a little HP 2.1 megapixel. I was like, damn, this thing's so cool. And then from there I got like a little, like, looks like a soccer dad camera, kind of something like that. So
those are pretty in right now, dude. Because you see like all these YouTubers are trying to get that vintage retro look. Yeah, the vintage look. So they just like I mean, I could just add a ton of filters on Premiere or something like that. But I get it though.
Yeah. And I started making videos, and then when I was like, I think in middle school, I started doing I made a YouTube channel with my friends, and I think we made like 112 videos or something.
Damn. You guys went in then.
What was your niche?
Honestly, just we would make stupid skits up. We would do prank calls, just really stupid shit. Like nothing. We had fun doing it though. So
that's all that matters though.
Yeah. And then I ended up, I think it was in 7th grade. I made a video about like Disney subliminal messages. I edited everything on what the hell was it called? Windows Movie Maker.
Yes.
And then I like went and checked it recently. I think it's like up to like 2 million views or something like that. And then I think at the time someone offered me like $50 to change the song to their song. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. And then
what year was this?
That shit. I'm trying to think where that.
I've never met anyone who went viral like that.
Wait, how old are you?
I'm 25.
25? Okay.
Yeah. This was actually when I was living. So like I moved from Pennsylvania to Huntington Beach, California, and then from Huntington Beach I moved back to Pennsylvania, and like I did like high school and college there, and then I moved back here by my own, with my girlfriend as well.
Okay. So since you graduated in some kind of media field, interesting that you graduated college after you left Huntington, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm surprised you didn't come back to, because you clearly landed in San Diego, but I'm surprised you didn't go back to like the LA area to pursue that field, because LA is like the media capital of the world.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, LA is the media capital, but where I like coming from Pennsylvania, I'll be lucky if I got like 4 or 5 gigs like a month, and here I could get 4 or 5 gigs a week. So it's just.
Why is that? Do you know?
There's no like real field for it unless you go towards like Philly or Pittsburgh or something like that. In my town, if you don't like drinking or hiking, there's not shit to do.
Okay, so you go to college,
awesome.
and then what makes you like move out, or what's going on during college?
So my girlfriend actually got accepted into a grad program. It's a SDSU. And
okay.
So yeah, she got accepted out there. Yeah. But then she was like, well, do you want to move with me? And I was like, well, now I got this degree, and I'm like, shit, if I actually want to do something with it, and I actually do want to do something with it, so I'm like, yeah, let's go. And then we, like, I think maybe like a month or two after we graduated, we just packed our car and drove all the way out.
Right.
Well, she didn't give you the ultimatum, right?
That is
like,
a long
I'm out.
drive. Yeah. That's pretty
I
tight.
was like,
though.
oh man, I guess I have to move to San Diego. It's so terrible.
Okay, so like since you went back and then you came back to San Diego, how did that transition go?
I mean,
Was it a culture shock once you landed to the West Coast?
I had like a little taste of it before, and honestly, I've like moved around a lot, like my entire life. So I'm like, it's definitely somewhat of a culture shock. It was more of a culture shock going from Huntington Beach to Wellsboro, Pennsylvania, like where I went. Like I graduated with like probably our graduating class in Huntington was like 800, 900 kids, and my graduating class in Wellsboro was like 70 kids.
Jeez.
So that was pretty dead. Like you kind of have to go out of your way not to know people
Right.
while you're there. So it's kind
Right.
of, I don't know. But moving back here, it was like, it's kind of weird not having like friends or anything at first, but it's cool though. I don't know. I just kind of got to make it work.
Right. So how did you make it work? Like, did you use social media, or just kind of go up to random people, shaking people's hands, like, "Yo, what's up? I do this, I do that."
I first started advertising myself through Craigslist. That was my, because
really?
normally in
The OG
Pennsylvania,
way.
yeah. Well, like in Pennsylvania, when you go on Craigslist, that's like to go pick up an old couch or some shit like
Right.
that. And I was like, out here, I'm like, wow, you can find work on here. Like that's crazy. So yeah, I started posting on there, and then I think my first real like big gig that I got was from it's called OMG Hospitality. So it's like they manage like water bar, PBL house, and backyard kitchen and tap, and then Union Kitchen and Tap. I think they have like 2 locations for that. So yeah, I started with them, and they offered me an in-house position doing like videography and photography. So I was like,
For
yeah.
these restaurants.
For these restaurants, yeah.
Nice.
And then so I started working with them, and then from there I just kind of built myself up.
Is that where Z Kitchen comes from?
No, that's my real last name too.
Bullshit.
No, swear to God.
You serious?
Kitchen, bro?
Dude, I thought like, because when I heard from you,
ID?
I got this. I got this. We got.
because I know we've been following each other for a long time, but we never actually. This is our first time actually
Excuse
meeting.
my mug shot on there, but
You
Oh,
are
let me
not
see that.
lying, dude.
Oh, what the fuck, dude?
Dude, I thought because I knew your Instagram grid like has a ton of like food, photography,
I thought it was your niche,
video.
bro.
That's exactly what I thought. I'm like, oh, that's fucking clever. Like instead of using the typical names like visuals like mine, creatives at the end of your first name, or some kind of like media at the last name.
yeah.
You put kitchens. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Like he does a lot of food photography and in the kitchen world, so I get it.
Yeah.
I did not know that was your actual full government.
Yeah.
No, that was like that shit just ended up working out. But when I first moved out here, I never did any food photography, no like cocktail photography, anything like that. So I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. So
And since we're here on this topic now, another reason I wanted to have you on this podcast is because nowadays we have a lot of creatives, quote unquote, that are really motivational. That's all they do. They just speak. And like if you want to do this, you got to get out there, but they don't really do anything. Like if you look at their grid,
well, that's when you see like the content creator in their bio, and you're like, where the fuck is your content?
Yeah.
Like there's something where that
or
doesn't-
they'll be like just a reminder, like this is a daily quote to do what the fuck you want to do.
They like want to be Gary V's and shit.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, bro, like what the fuck do you do?
Show
Where's your
me.
content?
Show me.
So I love that confidence. That's great. But like if you're not actually applying that to anything, then you're just blowing smoke up your own ass.
Right.
Exactly.
I don't know.
And that's what kind of fucks it up for the. I mean, there's always that one person who fucks it up for the rest of who are trying to help.
It's always that
others.
one bad apple.
Yeah. So like when I saw you, I was like, damn, like you do a lot of not this, but you do a lot of like you put out work. You're
Yeah.
consistent with posting, and like my brother,
Very consistent.
Yeah, very consistent. So like I told my brother like if he's consistent, he's like telling me like, oh shit, finally my reels are hitting because you're being consistent and you speak with your content rather than motivational type of shit.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted you. Like, I want to hear your story. I'm like, yo, dude, like this dude has something going on.
For the longest, I didn't know what you looked like because you just posted your work.
I know. I think
Until recently, you started posting yourself. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's what he looks like.
that's my friend Alicia. So her and her husband actually moved out here. I went to college with them too. And they moved out here like a year after me, and she's
Okay.
like, you have no photos of yourself anywhere. And she's also a photographer. She's like, let me take some pictures of you. So
There
like,
you
all right,
go.
cool. I'll
Because
get
you got some sick ass ones of you, man. Just like you out there, yeah. So I
Like,
can tell they're really
yeah.
professional.
Sam and I were like fucking around in his garage too. We were just like taking a bunch of like
I
goofy
saw
photos.
that.
But
I saw those stories. Yeah.
yeah.
Dude, that's tight. So like, so once you landed that gig through Craigslist of all places, it's pretty insane.
Well, I was like, so they put out, well, they had an ad out, and they said, or we want someone to come out and shoot videos for Water Bar, Backyard Kitchen and Tap, and PBL House. And they're like, we'll give you $100. I was like, oh.
I love that you're talking about numbers because
Yeah.
when you first start, you
Yeah.
take anything for.
Well, and that's why I think people, because people are also like, I've done a shit ton of free work too, and I think people are like, oh, I can't find jobs, but I'm like, you have no portfolio to show for it. So I'm like, how do you expect to get gigs when you don't have shit to show for? I'm like,
Right.
yeah, you like might have went to school for it, you might have done this and that, but like,
At the end of the day, experience talks, baby.
well, and especially in this field, no one gives a shit what like education level you have. Like, you don't need school. Like, you don't have to go to college for it.
And this
Especially
this comes from someone that went to school.
exactly, and like, I don't regret going to
Hey,
school.
I'm not the only one right here.
I do like, I appreciate my experience I got from school too. I think they taught me a lot of the basics, but I think the one thing where they definitely failed, which is why they'll never invite me back. They only invite back people who get sports jobs or news jobs. Otherwise, no one like because you can get like invited back to like talk to like the students going out. And I was kind of like on my
Get your TED talk on.
well, like on my hour, like getting out of school, I was just like, it's like I think you guys taught us the basics, which I think is great, but like, so you give us 3 options for a career to either shoot weddings, work for the news, or shoot sports, which I'm like, 90% of these kids, or probably more than that, are going to be freelancers. So I'm like you're cutting us off at the feet here.
Right.
Like, so I'm like, you're not teaching us. Now you gave us all these skills, but how do we make money with these skills?
Sure.
And not everything's about money, but like, school's an investment. That's why I looked at it as like.
You want to say something? Because I got some bars right now.
This is your big fuck you, and this is your fucking TED Talk, bro. So let it all out, bro. And I'm glad you're here, bro.
So this is the infamous question when it comes to creators. I get this DM a lot. I'm not sure if you do.
What is it?
Is film school worth it? I know you didn't go to an actual film school, but you were in a film lane in your school.
Yeah.
Like you keep
major,
saying, I keep hearing you saying like they taught us the basics. They taught us the basics, and you're fairly young, so you grew up in the YouTube world, if that's fair to say.
Well, and
You're
that was
building-
the thing that pissed me off the most when I was in class. I'm paying these professors money, and they're just handing me YouTube links to learn shit in class.
Holy shit!
And that's why I'm like,
I was just gonna say, can you learn all that on YouTube?
yeah.
And they're sending you YouTube links,
Damn.
fam. I'm hot.
We would sit in class and watch YouTube videos. I'm like, this is fucking insane. Like, why I'm paying money for this? I'm like, I could like. All I needed was a laptop and an internet connection. I could have taught myself all of this. Like,
And save yourself like 30 grand for the semester.
You know
That
what?
is crazy, dude.
Damn, that's insane.
So
So
that blew my question out the water right there. That's gonna be a highlight reel for sure. I can't believe that. I can't believe homie really sent a freaking YouTube link, man. I mean, you got to drop props. Who is a YouTube link you're sending? Is it like who is he sending?
who's college?
Yeah, I wonder if I watched this stuff before.
I'm trying to think. So like basically, a lot of it was for like After Effects kind of stuff
Okay.
too. But then
Justin Odisha, then. Just kidding.
I can't think of anyone. Like they never like picked one person to focus on. I was just random shit. They're like, oh, I saw this, and here you
So
go.
I have a question. Did they teach you how to edit and what program to choose, or are they biased?
I'm
towards
assuming
one program?
Adobe software since you're using After Effects.
Yeah, so well, like the first 2 years the first year while I was there, they taught everyone on Final Cut.
Okay.
And then that's when that semester I changed to business, and then I changed back, and when I changed back, they all converted to Premiere. So I learned like how to edit on both of them.
That's so solid.
Yeah, which I mean personally
What do you
I
use
like
now?
it.
Yeah, what do you
Adobe.
use?
That's I fuck with Adobe. That's my favorite one.
And are you using an Apple system or are you using a PC?
PC. I was using Apple, and then I ended up like I just wanted. I like Apple, but that shit gets expensive when you start going up.
We just preached about that last week. He just got himself a $2,000
expensive,
laptop, and it's like you could get that for like
you-
$700 on PC.
Did you build your own like computer system or what?
So I had a buddy build it for me because I was like I know what specifications I need, but I'm like I do not know shit about building computers. Like, and because I don't know, I could probably looked it up too, but I'm like I dropped like I put like $4,000 in this computer, so I was like I want to like future proof this thing,
Right.
and like make sure it's good. So I'm like I'm not gonna trust myself to build something like this. So
Totally relatable.
Yeah,
I built my computer. I didn't build it. A friend of mine, same thing as you.
Yeah.
He's a computer nerd.
Yeah.
And he's like, bro, I need you to build. He was a gamer. I'm like, I need you to build me a desktop computer. And he's like, dude, I got you. I'm like, no, but it's different from video. It's like I need a video computer, not a gaming computer. He's like, bro, I know what you need. They use the same shit.
Well, and that was what the guy told me. He's like, basically, you're just getting like a souped up gaming computer.
Exactly.
And I was like, okay. That's
Yeah,
cool.
and so I trusted him, and I still have it till this day. I got it built in 2016, 2017, and it still runs like a champion in 2021. I had a future proof on purpose, so I could I was scrubbing through 4K footage back in 2018 when nobody could do that, dude.
Well, and that's that's exactly what I told him. I was like, most of my projects are gonna be in 4K, so I was like, I need something that I need no lag time, like because I got to the point when I was editing on my old Mac, and I was just like,
you can't even scrub through it.
I'm like, I'm working faster than my own computer, so I'm like, that's like,
yeah.
I need something to be quicker than that.
That's why I upgraded it, and then and a lot of people knock me down because like, dude, Apple you can get for half the price of better, like the same thing, but I'm just convenience. Like I'm gonna pay for convenience.
Oh, and Apple is super convenient,
user friendly,
yeah,
like to the max.
I was gonna say anybody could almost pick up an Apple and be like, that's why iPhones are so freaking popular because everyone just like picks it up and you're like. My grandfather can use it
Good. Fuck, I had a great question to ask, and I kind of just had a brain fart right now.
What is it?
It was in regards. Okay, 4K. I got it.
Yeah.
Is 4K that important?
And
the reason I ask you is because everyone consumes their content in 1080.
Well, and so I personally like to shoot in 4K just for my editing purposes, but like,
can you elaborate to the rookies out there? Because I have a feeling I know what you're gonna say.
So you don't upsell 4K, or you do upsell 4K?
Like upscale?
Upsell. Like
as far as I mean that's another twist. I didn't think of that. I thought
that was what you were asking.
No, I have something else, but I'll let you say it first.
Yeah. So I mean, I like 4K because one, it gives you some flexibility. So like, if you want to crop some shit out or something like that,
why. Yeah.
And then like I like to add a lot of like digital zoom to my shit too, especially for like music video stuff. And that you can do that without like
losing resolution.
Exactly. Especially if you're working on a 1080 timeline too. I'm like. That you get like double the footage to work. It's almost like you're shooting with two cameras at the same time.
Is that the grainy shit resolution?
No, as far as resolution, like if you were to scale up a little bit, like you could scale up a 4K clip for like, I don't know, I've gone up to like 100, no, not 100%, I'm bugging, like 50%, and it still looks really clear. Yeah, when you zoom in into the picture, it still looks really good because you have that 1080. It becomes like 1080. It's like
especially
scientific thing.
Video too, when things are going, especially like in music video kind of things,
because
they're such quick clips that no one's gonna pick up on that shit, even if it has like a little bit off or a little bit too grainy. Like most of the time, that just is bypassed.
So that's why I think 4K is still very important. But I'm assuming you export it in a 1080. I mean, you say you're working on 1080 timeline.
Yeah, because when you try to deliver 4K, now some clients will ask for 4K, very rarely, but like
that's if they really know their shit.
And yeah, exactly. If they know their shit, they're like, I want the 4K version. I'm like, all right, we can do that. But I'm like, the file size is gonna be like fucking ridiculous. So I'm like, that's cool if you can handle that. But most people are like, because like when I first started, I was handing people 4K files, and they're like, hey, I can't download this. Like,
I can't preview this.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna cut it back, and then most I think like 80% of like traffic anyway goes through mobile devices. Yes. So
and I know like YouTube has definitely improved a lot.
Yeah.
And you could technically watch 4K if you change your settings on your phone, but it's not true 4K.
Well, and that's what I mean, because there's your screen resolution it can't handle that. Like it just looks like a little bit sharper.
Yeah, but a tad bit. But
to the average Joe, they're not going to know the fucking difference between 84K.
So okay, so now you're in San Diego. What's your next step? How do you get this offer from these three like company or whatever it's called? And then do you feel offended, or are you like you're just glad you got that?
What they were offering you?
Oh, so yeah. I mean, for that $100 offer, I replied to the ad because I was like, I don't have shit going for me out here yet. Right. So I was like, I need to start building up my portfolio. I'm like, I had some stuff from school, but like, I need like professional shit on my portfolio. Like I need to start building them. So I was like, I'll take the gig. And it was supposed to be a one-night gig. So I went out and I did photos and video for them too. I just did the photos for myself because I was like, they just wanted video, but I was like, I'm just gonna take photos while I'm here too.
Can we talk about the gear real quick before you get into the details?
Let's do it.
What are you rocking at that moment?
At that moment, I had it was my Sony A7R II, but just kit lens. That was what I had. That was a
Still
20
a
to
beast,
70.
it's still a beast of a camera, dude,
Well,
bro.
and the low light capability on that shit, and I knew, like I was shooting in nightclubs too. One of my first shit had no flash, nothing. I was just
really?
I was winging it, because I never really did like nighttime shoots at all. So I was like, okay, well, like
Shit, we probably saw you.
Yeah, probably.
Wait, so like, okay, so let me ask you this: so when you're shooting in clubs, are you getting drunk? Are you having a good time, or is it all professional? What's that like?
honestly, I usually don't drink when I go out. Like when I'm shooting, I might have like a beer or something, but I'm not like getting fucked up or anything like that. That's just
It's not professional.
no exact. And like I don't mind. Like I don't think having a drink or something's bad too. But like I'm definitely like actually. So they told me like the guy well, actually, I don't want to get ahead of myself before that, but like,
Check yourself.
Yeah, we don't got a name drop.
yeah. But like, the guy that they hired before me, he was like, I guess he would go around, and he would just get like shit faced,
Total
and then
plastered.
like he would turn in like
Shit
like
work.
like really awful photos, and there'd be like he maybe gives like 5 or 6 good photos from like
Damn.
going out the entire night, and I'm like,
Jeez.
that's kind of shitty, but
Yeah.
yes, so they brought me out for that night, and then I got a call Monday morning. They're like, "Hey, can you come down to our corporate office?" And I was like, "Oh, sure." So yeah, I went down. And then they're like, "Yeah, we'd like to offer you a position here on our team." And I was
Hell
like,
yeah.
cool. So I was like a department of one. There was no one else there.
Right.
Like I had a boss, but it's not. They were just kind of like, "Go here and shoot this."
Right.
So it's like,
So
okay.
at this point, you had an hourly rate.
hourly rate. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, are you there like full time, 40 hours, Monday through Friday kind of gig, or what are we talking?
Yeah. When I first started, I was doing probably like 40, 50 hours a week for these guys.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was doing quite a bit, and then just was learning a lot. And I was doing everything from like basically any social media content, any media they needed. I would just go to them and I'd go shoot videos, photos, whatever they needed. So mostly like it'd be like, and the thing I always hated too was going out and like have to take pictures of people like eating brunch and shit. I'm like,
That's so awkward.
it's like everyone's just trying to have like a nice meal. I'm like, why the fuck do I have to come here and like take photos of people while I'm like, I don't have to do it because it's my job. So I sucked it up and did it. But
Right.
So let me ask you this:
Yeah.
how did this? So you, at this point, you're with your girl.
Yeah.
How did it impact your nightlife, date night, or whatever with your girl?
Well, this isn't a relationship podcast, my
Oh,
guy.
man, this is for that creative with the fucking
True.
spouse.
Oh, like honestly, well,
How do you
like,
deal with that shit? Give him advice.
Yeah, well,
Because
like,
he's going through that shit right now. It's
I've already told this. I already got.
well, and that's why I take Sundays off now. So like that's just like I don't know, like we like obviously like we live together, so like we spend like we see each other, but not like necessarily we're spending like a lot of time together.
right.
But especially while she was in school and stuff too, so we were both pretty busy, so it evened out.
Right.
Like, but yeah, I mean, so like most of the time, if I go out and shoot nightclubs, they'd have me go shoot one weekend, and then I'd probably get like about like a week or 2 break before I go shoot more nightclub stuff again.
Okay.
So yeah.
And what's the Are you still with this company or?
I do, yeah, I still do some work for them.
Okay.
Well, especially like after like all the lockdown and bullshit too. I was like, really, that's stopped dead in the water, and that's kind of what
Pushed
me
you
be
to like
actually like I'm like, all right, I gotta, because I've always wanted to have like my own business, and then once this hit, I was like, well, I got nothing else to focus on except building myself up. So
what are you rocking now? Is A7 II or
still working with A7R2, but
Damn.
I did just order the was it the FX3?
Damn.
Really?
Shout
Yeah.
outs to J Pro.
J Pro, and that's what he got. He showed me that. I was like,
Yeah, I
beautiful
saw
fucking
him.
camera,
He
man.
shot out with fucking Hindu. I was like, what the fuck? I fucking knew it. Like I was, but anyways, this.
Well,
How's that? What made you get the FX3?
well, I mean, I've been doing a lot more video work recently, and I'm gonna keep the R2 for still stuff because
you have to.
it's. I mean, it's
How
still
many
solid.
megapixels is that?
I think it's like 42.1 megapixels, I believe.
Still a
sensor.
beast. All you need is a nice lens, and that's it.
Well, and that's what I say. The glass makes a huge ass difference.
What's your glass right now? What do you?
My fit and like fucking Sam. You fucking
do you-
know this. This is my
What's your
favorite.
go-to?
My go-to glass is my 30 millimeter Sigma.
Okay.
30 millimeter?
And
Or
it's
35?
no 30.
Oh,
Yeah.
30? What
Yeah,
the fuck?
1.4. I bought it for like 289.
Jesus Christ, that's an awkward as millimeter focus.
Wait, how'd you get it for that low?
I just found it like on a deal on Adorama one night, and I was just like,
Steel.
yeah, I was like, oh, cool. I'm gonna
Bro,
pick
that
this
must
up
be,
and
that's a unique focal length. 30 mil?
There's up to 40. There's
No,
like
but 30
three
mil,
numbers
I've
out
never
there.
heard of
Sigma does weird, like they don't
Weird
do the
focal.
normal like or like some people do like what, like 85,
24,
50,
35,
like,
50.
Yeah, they do like the weird in between shit too.
So 30 is your moneymaker.
Most of the shit you see on my page probably shot on my 30.
My moneymaker is 85. What's yours?
I mean, I don't do photos, but as far as like video, it's a little different, as you could probably relate. I use a zoom lens. I like my Tamron lenses. The 2875 is on my camera for the most part, but my favorite lens as far as sharpness is definitely my Zeiss 55 1.8. Okay. It's like you can tell the difference as far as quality, sharpness. But you were saying you're doing videos. What kind of videos are you creating for this specific company? As far as like, I know you're doing nightclub videos as well, like 60-second highlight videos, like Instagram, or what are we talking as far as details?
Yeah, just like for like the nightclub stuff, just like kind of highlight reels to show off, like, hey,
we're fun. We're cool.
Exactly. You can come get liquored up here and have a good time. Like that's about it. But so it started with food. Just I actually, like I mentioned one day when I was there, I was just like, we should just shoot food. Like I'm like just like literally I would just do like shoot some slow mo stuff of just like the dish coming out having some steam rise off it or some shit like that. And then we started going into so then I started working with the chefs, and like I actually got really close with the corporate chef that was with OMG. And then oh my bad, I was leaning back.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, we were
getting comfortable, bro.
So we started working with him, and then we would so I'd go back in the kitchen with him, and I would just follow him and let him like make a dish, film the whole like creation of the dish, and then we would I'd go back, and then we would just like get some shots of the finished dish as well, and then I would just like edit together like a little video, and then I would like sit them down for like a little interview. I'm like, now like just walk me through this dish, like talk to me, like what ingredients did you use, what like techniques did you use, and like why did you pick this dish of all dishes to put onto the menu?
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. And the restaurants were eating that shit up, like loving it.
It's so it's just like, because then it gets like, people like more like involved in the experience of coming into the restaurant too, I think, and then also the chefs fucking love it too.
Oh man, so cool. You're showing their creation and their art, and they're explaining why they're passionate about what they fucking do.
And exactly, and that's why I like working with them, and also like working with like music artists and stuff too, because they're very passionate people, and I fucking love that. I think that's so cool to work with people that are like very passionate about their craft, and like very rarely have I ever encountered like a chef or a music artist that isn't like 100% in on their shit. Like that's it's fun to work with people who are like,
oh, of course,
that's what they want to do.
Yeah,
because like I love what I do, and it's fun to work with other people who love what they do too.
So let me throw you a curveball. And it's me and Alberto have been experienced with this. So we always talk about like the broke artists, right? So I love working with rap artists. They're probably one of the best. It's
so creative. Yeah. That's why I love it.
It's a melting stew. But
but the cash isn't always there.
Oh, there you go. There.
That's what I say, bro. I fucking had him, bro.
And I'm like, it's definitely not the highest paying.
So how do you deal with that, knowing you're a freelancer? How do you
because at this point you're a full-time freelance. COVID happens. You say you're focusing on yourself and building yourself up. And it sounds like you're still working with the same company here and there, but you make your own rules, you make your own rates, and et cetera, et cetera. They still fuck with you clearly because they're still hiring you. And then from there, you're dabbling into music videos. Your grid screams. I mean, you've been posting some heaters lately.
Thank you.
Heaters lately. Like,
so that's my
After Effects shit. Like, my bro, I don't know what the fuck you did that shit. Like,
that's all Premiere Pro
bullshit.
Swear to God.
So that brings me up to my next question. Like, are you like investing? Are you putting all your eggs in one basket?
How did you get into the music world?
So actually, I had a buddy in Kutztown, Josh Pett. I don't know if you're gonna fucking listen to this or not, but whatever. But like, yeah, so he was starting out early in his music career, and then we shot a music video for him, and I was just like, I just had so much fucking fun with it, because it's that creative freedom that you have working with it. It's because like most things, it's got to have like a beginning, middle, and end. With a music video, it doesn't always have to be like that. Sometimes it could just, to be honest, now I'm like leaning towards like, even if it's like a stupid storyline, just like something small.
Right.
Like it's nice to have a little bit of like
structure
to it. Yeah. So it's not just like random shit like smoking weed and throwing money on like people like I don't
girls ass shaking there.
Exactly. And I get it. That's got to be in there sometimes for certain songs. But
sure.
Like, still, but I don't know, man. I just
Because your music videos as of late, at least, they're more story driven than the typical I'm gonna stunt that I'm fake rich.
Well, and also that's why I like a lot of the artists I work with. And like one of the guys I really love working with is KT Legacy. I like the music he makes because it's not, and like also I could just point him. I got a bunch of people I like working with, but like
right.
I like working with artists who are very real about what they say. And like Dago Fats is one of my other favorite artists because they're straight up. Like they don't learn out like, I got money, I got bitches, I got cars. Like they talk about the real life.
Okay.
Like they're just very like they're themselves, which I think is cool.
They're on that J. Cole lane.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I like, cause I'm like, and I get it, like you have to do some hype stuff like that too. But I appreciate the honesty, and I think other people, because real recognize real, and I just think that's I don't know, like
we preach that right here.
Yeah.
You know what? Something that your music videos kind of remind me in a way, but not necessarily as far as like the details. You kind of give me that Cole Bennett feel.
Shut the fuck up. That's my favorite guy, dude.
Okay, so I'm not bugging that. As far as like not as much animation that Cole Bennett does,
yeah.
But as far as like the framing, like I could tell you're like into like, and I could be fucking completely wrong, but you sound like you're like into like the cinema world, like you know your framing, your dimensions, your rule of thirds, and how to like properly put the camera in certain spaces and use that dead space intentionally.
Yeah.
And your videos show that. And as me as a creator and as a videographer, I could appreciate that. Where the common eye probably wouldn't even know what the fuck that is. Like it's like, oh, it looks cool. That's as far as it goes. But to me, it's like a little bit more deeper than that.
Thank you, man.
So
I have studied Cole Bennett for
it makes sense. This is our first conversation, guys.
He's like, yeah, that's like my fucking that's my film. Like that's my director crush. I fucking love that dude. He's cool as shit. But I don't know. I love his style because he does like goofy, weird shit, and I think I don't know. I like to have fun with it, and I think that's like. I don't really like to make shit that's like, especially music video wise, unless it's like a very serious tone song. I like to have fun with it. Like, why not have fun with it? And it's also like when you make shit like that too, I think it's a little bit more memorable for the viewer too, to kind of have some like weird. Like another guy I love working with too is Raph Martin. We made some really like funny like music videos together.
Are these local artists in the San Diego area?
Yeah, also
or LA? Do you like fuck with LA at all?
I've done some in LA too. Actually, I have one coming up next weekend in LA too. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty. I've shot some stuff. I did a music video for. One of my clients, London Chanel, drag queen. Well, actually, she just moved out to Colorado. But yeah, like we went up to LA and we shot in this cool ass studio. It was like a simulated rain studio
in LA.
In LA,
I think it's that same one.
Yeah, you probably.
Yeah, it's like they call it the rain room.
Yeah, it was. So
and
cool.
Is it like that? Does that like the entrance where it's like all lit up?
When you say that, like the hexagon tunnel.
Yes.
Thing? Yeah, that's
okay,
it.
Same one that we've been to. Okay.
It's so I like that place, but like, dude. The people that were working there don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I walked in and I was like, we set this up like over 2 months in advance. And I walk in there. I was like, we're shooting a music video. I get in the room. There's strobe lights in there. So I'm like, hey, I was like, are they going to drop off like the lighting soon? Because I'm like, we're supposed to start in like 30 minutes. And he's like, oh, that is the lighting. I'm like, no, that's not the lighting. I'm like we're not making a stop motion music video. I'm like, that's just not going to fucking happen. Like that's. So I went up to the front and they're like, oh, yeah, well, that's the lighting that comes with the room. But I'm like, I literally talked to you guys for like an hour on the phone. I'm like, I thought this was all like figured out. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, now I have to buy lighting from this company. Well, I brought my own lights with me too. Right. But I'm like, we were working in a studio, like, because we were in the white room. Like,
yeah.
That, like, the
orbiting part? Yeah.
So
okay, so I was in the opposite room.
Yeah, we're working on that when we first came in too. They're like, oh, yeah, we'll paint the room for you. It's all clean. We come in, it looks like someone had like a rodeo in there. I'm just like, holy shit. So I was like, yeah. So anyway, we got that all cleaned up and then got the lights, and then I asked, I was like, do you guys have like a diffuser for this light? And she hands me a reflector, and I was like,
I swear to God, like especially this is like an LA thing because what you're saying is so relatable. That's they hire just a random person that they're gonna pay minimum wage. So yo, make sure nothing breaks. That's all it is.
That's
so
it.
So I show up and I'm like, yo, do you have this? Do you have that? Do you have that? And she's like, I don't know what you just said, but let me call my boss real quick. I'm like, bro, I don't got time for that. You gave us a 2-hour limit, and it's like,
and that's what I mean. Because when you step in that studio time starts. You are fucking paying for it. So I'm like, you need to get going. Like it's not like
exactly.
That's why we're going with like I always have a pre-production plan when we go in the studio. Like like we can like do other shit while we're there too, but we need that skeleton to work off of, like to keep us on track. But yeah, I got in there. She's like, hands me a reflector. I'm like.
This is
like,
not
she's
a
like, oh, this will
diffuser.
work. I'm like, light doesn't pass through this. Like, it literally is the opposite. Yeah. She's like, oh, you can just take it off and use the circle. But I'm like, but there's no C stand in there. So like, what would you like me to clip this to? So
right. I noticed you just said the word pre-production. I feel like pre-production is such an underrated aspect in the filmmaking space.
That is one thing I learned from college too. My Professor Neil.
So you did learn something.
Yeah, I was like, this shit is tattooed in my brain. Proper pre-production planning prevents piss poor performance.
Damn.
Bars of the week or what?
Yo, he paid a shit ton of money. You guys getting some free. Give us a fucking like
30 racks for this quote right
here. Fuck, share this fucking Potter, bro.
So walk me through about the pre-production. Like when you work with these music artists, do they give you a concept like, yo, this is the world I want to go into? You design it into your own world and let's go from there? Or like, it's like, yo, I just want a sick ass video, make it poppin'.
Yeah. What's the onboarding process?
Exactly.
So a lot of people will come to me and they're just like, I just want to, like kind of run and gun kind of shit. So like, just cinematic shots. We'll pick like 4 or 5 locations and go shoot it up. But that's why I like working with like Raph and like Dago and like Raph Martin. Oh, I said Raph Martin, my bad. But yeah, like KT Legacy, like they'll come to me with like an actual concept that they want to do with the song. So from there, we kind of build off of that. So yeah, they'll be like, so this is like how I feel about the song. This is something like KT Legacy. The one we did was like the recent one was like called Stacking It Up. So it's basically him just like him doing food delivery, like doing DoorDash kind of stuff, and then just him like rapping while he's like pretending to do like deliveries to houses and that kind of shit. But yeah, I mean,
there's some kind of concept that's pretty interesting in it, and like it's gonna keep my eyes glued to the screen instead of just the typical I'm waving $100 bills from Amazon that I got for $10 and shit.
Shaking and whatnot.
That's what I like to do. I like to create like a little intro piece before the song, and then sometimes like a little outro piece to go to.
Right.
Just that, and it's not like some like very like in-depth storyline by any means, but it's just I don't know.
Right.
It's just
you're not going full Christopher Nolan in this shit.
Exactly. Because I'm like you got people's attention for like 3-4 minutes max. So I'm like,
shit, I'd say even less than that, man.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like
we could thank TikTok and Instagram for it.
That's why I like to hook them in. It's like quick as I can in the beginning. You got to do something just like fucking weird at the beginning.
Right.
For me, like I like to do something that's just like shit. So like, hopefully that makes people like sit there and watch it for another minute or two. But I don't know. You gotta switch it up. But
so you say it's fair to say your biggest like music inspiration or videographer is, I don't even call him videographer. It's kind of disrespectful saying this shit.
Yeah.
But Cole Bennett, what's your end goal? Like, do you still want to pursue music video directing or are you still into like the food space? What's your passion?
Shit, we haven't even talked about it. His graphics. The fucking mushrooms, like
yeah. What's up with the mushrooms, bro?
Yeah.
Like,
we can't go with that. We featured you, motherfucker. Like, talk about that shit. Unload on that. Like, what's your passion? How the fuck?
Clearly, mushrooms. I saw a post today from a mushroom post.
Yeah. So what's up with that, bro? How did that come about?
So I was like bored during quarantine and shit. So I was like, honestly, I was just eating a shit ton of edibles and hanging out at home. I don't know if I can say that on the podcast.
No, you can say whatever, man. It's a free space.
I was just like sitting there and like I made one and I was like, oh, that was like, I don't know, I had fun making it. And then so I made like a few more and I posted it and people were like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I was like,
interesting.
And I was like, and I enjoyed doing it. And it was because I would make a bunch of random collages, but then now like I'll be honest, like that's probably the only thing I've like ever like kind of like found a specific spot for in collages. Now I'm like I like to pretty much that's all I make now.
Is he your Lenny to Cole Bennett?
Kind of, yeah. It's like I love to.
It's if you know, you know, bro. You know what you should do, man? Yeah. Like I'm not gonna tell you what to do, but I feel like it'd be kind of a cool idea because you're super into this mushroom character. Have him somewhere hidden in your videos, bro.
I know that's why, because like
kind of like what Cole Bennett does with Lenny.
Yeah, he always hides Lenny in there
somewhere.
Yeah,
and it could be hidden, like, but as long as he's still in there,
that's like fucking like Walt Disney's like hidden Mickey and shit. He's got the little hidden Lenny and stuff too. I think it's cool to have.
It's like a little character that you create.
Yeah. Easter egg.
Yeah, it's an Easter egg, pretty much.
Basically. Well, I was gonna tell you, why don't you make fucking prints, bro? That one we featured, I would want to buy. That's a 20 by 30 and just post it in my fucking bathroom.
I started.
It was fucking dope.
Dang, which one was that?
The one we featured with it was a naked lady or a half naked mushroom.
So I started making prints. I ended up making like these little poster boards, and I like sold a few of them. And then, so I didn't check that account for like I don't know, like 2 or 3 weeks. I just was like,
you see all these inquiries. I want to buy them.
Yeah, I ended up I checked it. I had like 15, 20 requests for like prints, and I was
Dude,
like,
they're dope.
oh shit, okay. I was like, that's
You
pretty
got
cool.
something going on
What
there.
do
I
you
was
use?
like,
Do you use Photoshop or what do you use?
Straight Photoshop.
Photoshop.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy, bro.
So are you pretty good with Photoshop? It's fair to say that, like,
That was all. Yeah, just self-taught. I actually so like
YouTube
the first
University.
time I used, a little bit. If I was like trying to figure out a tool or something.
My
but,
favorite
like,
one is the one with it was a fucking bear and an eagle or something with the
Oh
bear.
yeah.
That was my favorite one. I was like, fuck, that's fire.
Yeah, it's really trippy, and it catches my eye compared to like typical like portraits that you see or typical videos you see on Instagram. So you seen like a mushroom somewhere that's not supposed to be there. It's like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
And like it stopped my scrolling, so it did its purpose.
And that's kind of like why I like making weird shit like that. Because it's like, I want to just like take up a couple seconds of your day where you're like, what the fuck is this? And you're just like, oh, okay. And like,
keep pushing.
yeah, I was like, whether you like it or not, I don't give a shit. I still made you stop for a second. So I'm like, that's cool with me.
That's super tight, dude. So yeah, I would definitely encourage incorporating that mushroom
Make some
somewhere in
prints.
your music videos from here on out.
I definitely will.
But back to your passion.
Yeah.
What is your true passion right now? Like, is it music videos, or is there something out there that you're creating that's not out to the world to see?
So I mean, I'm working on a couple different so I'm working on like a feature length film right now with a director, and then I have a couple like shorts I'm working on, and 3 documentaries I'm working on right now too.
And are you directing all of these besides the one that you're working with the director, or are you just camera op, director of photography, or what are you?
I'm doing mostly director of photography and like editing, and like also just kind of like collabing, like we have a few things that I don't really have anything out yet, but the guys I started working with at PB Comedy Backyard. So we actually just shot a documentary for those guys.
Okay.
Because they basically, it was like once COVID hit, they're like, can't perform anywhere, can't do anything.
Right.
So they started performing in their backyard.
On their Andrew Schultz shit.
Yeah. Why. So we just started like growing with that. And then we went around, we interviewed like 5 or 6 different comedians. Mm-hmm. And we would go into like the bars that were like, at the time they were still shut down.
Right.
So we go and like record their interview in there. And then basically we just like, I actually didn't do like any of the editing for this. I just just video work for this.
Do you enjoy editing?
Personally, I like to do both. I like shooting and editing, because like when I'm shooting, I know what I'm looking for in the editing room too. Right. And like I'll like edit people's stuff too if they send it to me. Like, well,
there's a saying, you shoot to your edit, or
but like I hate when people are like, yeah, man, I want you to make it look like that, but I'm like, well, I didn't fucking shoot that, so I don't know how to like. Yeah. I was like, it's gonna depend like what you're giving me, because I'm like,
it's like you shot in 23 frames per second, you want slow motion, bro. How's that gonna happen?
Well, and that's like I just had like a kid send me some like stuff for a music video. He's like, because he actually hit me up. He's like, oh, you shoot this? He's like, oh, I actually had my buddy shoot it, but like, would you edit this? And he's like, I want it to look like this video that you did. But I'm like, well, I mean, like, it's gonna really depend what you're giving me to work with, because I'm like
you can't just say yes off rip.
Well, not exactly. I'm like, I'm not like a fucking magician. You can't like.
But they don't know that. They don't understand that world.
That's what I mean. I'm like, and that's why I hate when, like, especially when I work with people that are like, oh, we'll fix it in post. I'm like, shut the fuck up. You don't do that. That's not what you do.
That is the worst fucking thing ever.
That makes me just want to like, oh my god, I just want to pull my teeth out when I hear that. I'm just like,
fix it in post.
No, shoot it right the first fucking time. Just do that. Like, why would you not do it right in camera?
The thing I get when I photos, can you make my like yellow thing purple? Like, like, bro, come on. Why don't we just get a fucking purple?
Yeah, just get a purple. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I mean, yes, you could fix that in Photoshop, but it's like you're not getting paid for that.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting paid just to take a fucking photo. Like,
that, especially when people are like, "Oh, can you make me slimmer?" I'm like, no, no, I'm not doing that. Like, okay. I'm very straight up. I'm like, I'm not like.
Where's that Kim Kardashian?
All my female clients, like, yes, they always ask me, can you make me a slimmer video? My brother, this ain't Photoshop. This is video. I can't make you skinny in video. Like in Photoshop, dude, I could get away with that, but not in video. It doesn't work like that.
And that's the same thing too. I always think, yeah, like when people are like, if it's a photo, I can manipulate it somewhat, but yeah, because you're working with a single frame. But like in video, you're not paying me nearly as much as I would. Like, honestly, I wouldn't even do that. It's just like, that's what you look like. I'm sorry, like that's what you fucking.
If you want to, if any guy or girl, you want to look smaller, lose fucking weight. Like, if you know you have a shoot in 3 weeks, no facts. Bro, this is all facts, no feelings right now. If you know you have a shoot in 3 weeks, you book Peter Collins to shoot some photos of you in a bathing suit. You know you have a shoot coming up. Lay off the fucking McDonald's. Eat yourself a fucking salad. go on your fucking treadmill or on the Stairmaster for 60 minutes a fucking day. There you go, man. And I'm not talking about just girls. I'm talking about guys or girls. Like I've had guys tell me like, "Yo, make me look like this." I'm like, bro, you don't look like that.
Yeah, it's
Bro, I'm gonna cut you out. Bro. No, I was just talking about the fucking. No, I was just talking about the fucking wrinkles. That's the one I get the most. He's like, "Oh, can you give him like? Can you fix my back? Can you fix this skin thing? Can you fix it?" I'm like, "What's the point of making you perfect when that's you? Like, if you have like a certain thing or like I've always talked about this organic. Like, why am I gonna change your features when that's you? Like,
well, and that's like if you got like a pimple or something, I'll take that off.
I could heal
I'm
that.
like, if you're born with that shit, it's staying on. That's I'm not like that's just unless you like,
I like that though.
It just. Yeah, because I'm like, like obviously, like normally you probably don't have a fucking pimple.
Because I've had people like, I remember editing this specific photo, and then she had like, let's call it, it's like it was like a mole or something.
Yeah.
And I asked my girlfriend, and I'm like, "Yo, is it rude if I take this off? Would it be noticeable? Would she care?" And she's like, "Well, did she ask you to take it off?" I'm like, "No." But it'll look, the picture will look a little better. And she's like, "Don't fucking do that. You cannot do that." And I'm like, I bet. I needed that female's perspective to understand that. So,
well, and that, I've kind of like talked with my girlfriend about that too, because she'll watch while I'm like editing shoots sometimes. And she's like, and I'll be like, yeah, like, do you think I should like take this away? And she's like, no, like that's like, especially like for like a mole or like a weird freckle or some bullshit. Like that. I'm like,
that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, if you got like a pimple or something, like.
Oh yeah, I mean, clearly it's not supposed to be there, you know.
Yeah.
But so Zeke, I know in this podcast we kind of encourage people to like we encourage like be your own boss and do your own thing, and it's like at the same time we both know that's not for everybody. It's cool to have a creative side hustle. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely. And it's also cool to have, because this is how I started. I had a job in the creative space working full time Monday through Friday. 40 hours a week, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
So you have experience working in that same. We getting to know you in this conversation is pretty cool because like we have a lot in common. So it's pretty dope. What's the difference that you've seen when working with like a company, let's say, and then you're a full-time freelance? Like, what's the pros and cons? Like, can you give me like a difference, like some kind of shock that you've gone through?
So I mean, like working, like, so if you have like a boss or like management or some shit that you're working with as well, depending who, like, I don't know, I've always had like pretty cool managers, at least in the creative field. So, and they're usually like, and when they brought me in, they're like, I like what you do, I trust your eyes, so I'm gonna let you take the reins here. So really, I haven't had any like Katie, who's my manager at OMG, super cool. Like, she just will be like, we want to go do like a menu shoot this week, or we want to go do this or that, and she just kind of like lets me take the reign on it,
right?
Because she's like, I trust what you're gonna give me. I know that it's gonna be like quality.
She knows you're gonna deliver.
Exactly. And so she's always like, she's very open with me about that kind of stuff. So I haven't really necessarily had like a negative experience with having a like boss in the creative field, because it's, I mean, there's no one else in my department like working with them. Like, it's just me, and then I work with like the marketing team and that kind of stuff, and we just kind of come up with ideas of what we want to make, or even when we just show up at the day of the shoot, we'll just like make shit up to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And as far as like, and I think what I'm trying to go with is like, you have a structure. In a way, it's some sort of structure where, hey, I need you to shoot at A, B, and C this week. Where when you're by yourself, you got to come up with these shoots yourself. You got to go find these leads. You got to convince them to like, yo, this is what I'm worth. So either pay it or you don't pay it. Or sometimes you may cave and be like, and cave is not a bad. It's not a bad thing.
Especially when you're first starting to, you got to eat a little shit. That's just how it is. Like, you can't like. Especially like for me when I first came out here, I'm like, I don't really have that much of a portfolio. So I'm like,
you don't have the leverage.
Yeah, I don't have any leverage here. So I'm like, I'm going to take what I can get for now. I'm going to build my portfolio. And honestly, with them, I was able to build myself up. And like, and from them, I've gotten like other like food and like cocktail gigs and stuff like that, where I'm just going out and shooting that. But yeah, like, they've allowed me to like build myself up off of them, and while still getting like paid and still getting experience and all that kind of shit too. But yeah,
so you kind of know like your position, right?
Yeah,
because I only know it from the freelancer type of thing, where like yo, I'm gonna charge this amount and I'm gonna get paid this amount. But then again, you're like, for you guys, it's like it's different, because like freelancer is cool, right? But
Yeah.
having a boss is like okay, like I'm gonna pull back a little bit, but it's consistent work that I'm gonna get. It's a consistent paycheck that's gonna help me pay for my thing.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, and I think especially to get your start too.
Yeah, no.
Like do that. Like it's good to learn how to work for someone because that's going to help you also with your clients, I think too. Like that's going to help you work like so you know how to interact with people. Like you at the end of the day, yes, like I'm going to have my ideas too, but like I want to make sure my client's happy. Like like that's because they're the one paying me to do the
priority number one.
But most of the time they're coming to you and they're like, I trust what you're going to do. I know, like, especially in this field too, like they see your work, they
get a sense of your style.
Exactly. And so like they know what they're getting into before like you even start working with them necessarily. So,
and how do you feel about like social media, like the Gary V's out there, like yo, be your own fucking boss and do all this shit, like, and to be fair, we also push that narratives at times.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's but you guys push it, but you guys have shit to back it up. That's the difference. That's like, and I think it's good to have that attitude, but like, if you don't have anything to back it up, like I said before, you're just blowing smoke up your own ass.
Right.
We talk about that,
and then you're just like getting a bunch of other people who don't know what the fuck they're doing that are also like, yeah, I'm a content creator, but I'm like, you made like 3 fucking TikToks. Like that's not no.
So how do you feel about the social media space right now as far as like the TikToks, the reels? I mean, there's a lot of, like you said,
I don't even have fucking reels on my account. I still can't get it on my Bring Us to Fungus page. I have reels, but on my like personal page, that option still has never shown.
Dude, you're the second person Dennis. He just got reels like 2 weeks ago.
What?
Because I'm like, he showed me a story video. My bro, put it on reels. That shit will hit like. And he's like, dude, I can't post it. And he's showing me I'm like, dude, you really can't. It's crazy. Like,
no reels.
It's been out for like over a year at this point.
Just I got like post or IGTV. That's my option.
Damn.
Or like obviously story and shit too. But like, no reels.
That sucks. But all these people that call themselves like content creators that are posting all these reels that are like mostly iPhone stuff, and they're trying to be funny or cringy, borderline in my opinion. But how do you feel about like? What's the difference? I feel like anyone's a content creator nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
it's starting to give me like a bad taste in my mouth. It's like, dude, I don't want to consider myself like a content creator because it's so cliche and so douchey to say it nowadays.
In a sense, yeah, but like people can call themselves whatever the fuck they want to call themselves, but like really, your work speaks for itself,
right?
Like, so people are gonna see that shit. Like, yeah, you can call yourself like I can call myself a fucking lawyer. I have zero experience in that fucking field. I'm like, I'm an aspiring lawyer. But like, no, that's not like I'm an aspiring content creator. But like, you have nothing to fucking show for that.
Right.
So
like, that's why we fucking had you right here, bro. Because you speak content, you speak less motivational shit, and that's why I wanted you here, bro. Because you're that person. Like, you don't get that recognition. Like, real talk. Like, you don't. And this is why I want you here, because I want you to give that message to that creative member out there who like, man, my motivational skills ain't that greatest, but my work can back it up. Your work backs it up.
Yeah,
like, you don't need to say shit.
You don't have to say shit. Your work like says millions. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
appreciate that, man.
So it's like the people that are like, oh, I'm a public. There's like a million public figures out there.
Dude, that's when I say, yeah, you see that. I see that popping up on that with the entrepreneur and shit. I'm like, what in the fuck are you doing? Like, dude, you have nothing up there. I'm like, you have 8,000 selfies of yourself.
Damn, you only had 300 followers, bro. What are you talking about, bro?
You know how many times I wake up to like, hey, this is just waking up and reminding you that you're capable of doing this and that. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing to like?
But so I'm gonna play devil's advocate. There's nothing wrong with sending a good positive message to somebody, because there could be someone like deep in shits and it's like, bro, I needed to hear that shit.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
To keep me going.
I'm not knocking on them. I'm just saying, like,
but it's hard to believe someone that doesn't.
But
your credentials.
I'll never drink that fucking Kool-Aid that they're pouring out. No,
there you go.
No.
Hey, you see him backing my shit up? That's why I had him on the fucking podcast, bro.
And like, because I see people like that all the time. They're like, yeah, like the whole like fucking like they'll have like their own like you join their club and they'll like you have like Zoom meetings and one-on-ones with them and bullshit like that. But like,
there's a lot of scams in social media nowadays, bro.
And that's the only thing I'm like, honestly, like, I'm not really seeing much to back your shit up. And like, if you're breathing the same air that I'm breathing, get the fuck out of here. I'm not like I'm not.
You'd be
I'm not worried about
surprised,
that.
man. I feel like majority of the people eat that up and they buy that $1,000 course.
The only course I've ever bought was, I think it was like the full-time filmmakers,
And that's
course.
a legit.
Because I'm like,
I've been watching their content for years. I believe in their product. I believe what they say. Like I took so much free knowledge from them. So
Yes.
you deserve my $1,000.
and from a business standpoint too, like they like I've learned a lot from.
They break it
like,
down.
Exactly, and that's like and that was like the whole thing why I think like school like failed me in that portion was like where they helped me out because they like gave me information on the business side of things that like I had no idea about.
So that brings me to holy shit. This gives
have
me
a
a nice
perfect question, but-
little hard
I'll let
turn
you go
right here.
first.
The fact, so we are seeing this new wave of people creating their own courses.
Masterclass.
Yes, they're let's call them master classes. But I mean, you're pretty much saying it without saying it. Like, yo, sometimes it's worth it, and it could be more valuable than spending 90 racks on college.
Well, and yeah, I mean, honestly, from buying that course, like I think at the time I bought it too, it was only like a couple $100.
So
it's
it's a steal.
And honestly, if I would have just done that instead of go to school, I would have had all. And I still appreciate school for teaching me the basics of like audio. I'm not gonna say I'm some fucking audio master. That I can record an interview, some simple shit like that, but just having the basics of lighting, shooting, editing, and all of that just like wrapped in one, that was very helpful. But I don't know, like you got to be careful when people are putting these courses out here because I think a lot of people are full of shit.
Let me ask you guys, since you guys are kind of like videographers, I've seen this guy on Instagram, right? And I keep fucking harassing or like I keep reporting him because I'm like, yo, I'm seeing this guy
I do this
too
all
many
the
times.
fucking time.
So this
All
is
the time.
wedding. This is wedding videographer, and he always posts his testimonial about like, yo, I just made 30 grand a month on deposits, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like how are you guys like? Are you guys looking at those, or are you guys even like, what the fuck? This is phony shit. Like report.
I think since I've been consuming social media at a young age, and we've been on the YouTube game for a very long time.
Long time, bro.
So I feel like we know what's bullshit and what's authentic as far as like social media ads.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's this stupid ass ad I see like on YouTube because right now I like to watch a lot of BTS wedding filmmakers.
Yeah,
It's just super interesting. Like I personally don't love to film wedding filmmakers, but wedding films, but I do love seeing how they shot this, why they use this glass, the lighting, etc., on the field. I love seeing the BTS.
Absolutely.
And so there's there's always like a freaking break in between of the stupid ass ad. It's like, Stacy doesn't want to see your typical silhouette music, blah 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 blah. I'm like, yo, skip, fuck this guy. Like, I wish I knew his name. So I could fucking put him on blast right now. I can't stand his stupid ass ad, dude. It's so annoying, man. So you just know what ads are just full of shit and what are like really authentic. There's this one ad, and this guy's actually from Carlsbad. He's like a drone pilot guy. But his page is amazing on YouTube. Like this guy gives it up. Like he never says, "Yo, like and subscribe to my channel." By the way, give us a like if you're at it. If you're on YouTube right now.
Is there?
So like this guy is really not knowledgeable, and his ads are actually. I've actually watched his 2-minute fucking ads. I'm like, bro, like I like you, dude. Like, you know.
Hold up.
Yeah. So there's real stuff out there, but 99% is like full of shit in my opinion. Is just want to get that attention grabbing statement.
The fucking guy I hate.
Yeah.
Let me talk my shit.
Yeah.
Get
The
your
guy
shit
I
off.
hate for photography. I found the lighting fucking solution. That guy,
I've never seen
the
that.
bald dude. Is like I found the lighting.
We have two different algorithms. I got the video ads. You get the photography ads.
But this guy, I was like, I'm looking at his shit. I'm like, and then he like posts like examples, and I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Like skip. Like I report him like seen through this ad
too many times. Yeah.
Like come on, bro. But it's this corny shit that fuck they're making their bank, and you can't hate.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. Like when you're actually in the field, you can see that shit. Like you see that. Like you see all of it. You're full of shit, and you're just like sucking in people who like have less experience. They don't really know anything. They're like,
Right.
oh wow, this guy's making a lot of money. But I'm like, Well, like, what was it, like the fucking Ty Lopez, that motherfucker? Like, he's always on there. He's just like,
look at my library.
I just read 17 books today, and here's my Lamborghini.
I stopped seeing his ads. I think I've reported him too many times, so I stopped seeing them. But does he still do ads? Apparently,
I stopped seeing him.
That dude sucks shit like a toilet, man. He's full. Like,
So young creators out there, don't get fooled with these fucking ads, bro. There's certain ads that I will like. Companies like Full Set Filmmaker, I will vouch for them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about the Sam Colder one. I haven't seen that.
You just posted him with like a fucking horse riding with no hats. I'm like, what, bro? This is what you curated the past 3 months when you're sipping on your girlfriend's like.
Oh, chill.
Like you showed me a video with you riding a horse with no hands.
You can tell this guy loves Sam Calder.
I love him. Kudos to him, man. He secured the bag. You know what I mean?
Fucking hater. But dude, Zeke, dude, thank you for being in this podcast, man. If you could give one solid tip to the young creator out there, what is it? So something that you've learned in the last few years in the creative space. What is one tip that you recommend to give out there?
Just keep, like, honestly, just keep making shit. Like, and if you're just starting now, if you have been going for like a few months, a year, whatever, like, you're gonna fucking suck at first. And that's like, you're gonna suck at first, but like, if you keep going with it, and this is something you're actually like passionate about, that you truly care about, keep going with it, because like, you're gonna get better. That's just anything you do. You're gonna suck at first, but just keep pushing it, and you'll learn as you go. And if you actually give a shit, yeah, you'll learn. Like, when I'm at home working, like, I have my work on one computer, and then my other computer, I have YouTube up the entire day. I'm always learning shit. So like, if there's anything you want to learn, just do it. Like, make the time for it. Don't be afraid of like keep putting your work out there too. Like, even if you're like, well, this is not as good as his work, don't fucking do that. That's not like
the comparison.
Don't compare yourself to the other guy, because the ultimate fight is you versus you. I believe that. Like,
love that.
That's who you're fighting. So if you can get better, like, just try to be better than you were the next day.
Right.
In all aspects of life, just try to be better than you were the next day, and that's all you can try to do. Like, because you can sit there and like, oh, I'm not as good as fucking Steven Spielberg or Cole Bennett or like some bullshit like that. Like, no shit, those guys are like fucking legends.
That could eat you up too, man.
Well, and that's what I mean. Like, so like that fear,
if you fall in that hole,
that fear will fucking paralyze you, and you can't let that fear paralyze you. Like, you need to just go make stuff. Like, just do whatever you can. Like, don't be afraid. Don't go on social media for like a week. Just go out and shoot stuff, make what you like, and post it. If people fuck with it, people will fuck with it. It doesn't. To be honest, that doesn't really matter. Like, if you like the work and you're like, wow, I think I'm getting better. Like, I like this kind of stuff. Keep pushing it out there. Don't worry about the noise. And honestly, if people aren't fucking paying you, fuck their opinion.
Yeah. And I love what you just said there. Is you keep putting that work, and people always say, it's like, well, I don't know what my brand is. I don't know what my branding is. That way, you just said, keep pushing your fucking work.
Yeah. And
people will suck that titty. That's the fucking. That's your brand. That's essentially what your fucking brand is, and that's what makes you up.
Exactly.
And derive from that, and clinch onto that, and that's your fucking brand. Like, seriously, like.
And that's what I mean, because it's not like, especially starting out, I had no fucking idea what I wanted to do. Like, no idea, and I'm still honestly, I'm like, I'm not 100% sure exactly where I want to go next. I do. I want to have my own production house eventually one day, and where like, that's my shit where I can go make things, work out of, and like just kind of have, but. Just keep pushing yourself. Like, you'll find what you like, but also in that, don't box yourself in. Like, if you're just starting out, I'm not saying anything's wrong with like having like a niche or anything like that. I think that's good to have. Mm-hmm. But if you're just starting out, try everything.
Everything. You have to
try fucking everything, and don't be afraid to do free work either. If you don't have a fucking portfolio or anything to show for it, do some free work. Right. Like, make some cool shit. Like, and that, like, yeah, you might have to go work a normal job, go fucking flip cheeseburgers, whatever the fuck you have to do.
Nothing wrong with that, too.
There is nothing wrong with that. But, like, you have to take those steps to get to where you want to be. There's not, like, you don't just go from, like, point A to fucking point C all the something. Like, there's work in between that you need to do. Right. It's not it's not a clean linear kind of line. Not maybe for some people.
And I feel like even in the creative space, there is no roadmap to how to make it.
Absolutely not.
Talk to any fucking successful filmmaker, dude. Like Steven Spielberg, I think I'm pretty sure it was him. He like, fuck, I don't know the exact story, but one of the like most famous filmmakers, he snuck into the Jaws set for Steven Spielberg made it, right?
Yeah,
I forget who was the one that snuck in, and he like just absorbed what Steven was doing, and then he made his own fucking film. It was a hit. Fuck, I wish I remember this damn fucking director.
I just saw a shark documentary about Jaws.
All these filmmakers, they didn't just go to school and then made a movie and then it was a hit. They laid a lot of eggs. Like
absolutely.
They like.
Well, and that's the thing too. I think when you go and like you need to work with other people who are better than you. You need to work with people who are way more fucking experienced than you, because what you need to do is be a sponge and ask questions when it's appropriate to.
I like that. When it's appropriate to.
Yeah, don't be like sitting there like asking stupid fucking shit. Like, but like, yeah, like I think it's good to ask them like, hey, like, I don't know, like what lens did you use for that? Like, I don't just like.
Why did you have that camera in a certain degree compared to the standard eye level?
Exactly, and like why'd you do the lighting like this? Why'd you do this and that? Like, I think it's good to ask questions like that because that builds you up, and like you can take that in. But then also you need to be a sponge, because you need to remember when you're working with people like that too, you're like low man on the totem pole, which is okay. That's fine. Everyone has to start somewhere, and chances are you're starting off low man.
That's one of the inspirations I got from like. When I met Sam, I was like, okay, like, and then they told me, like, oh, blah blah blah. Like, he knows Zeke. He helped Zeke. Blah blah blah. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I was like, wait a minute, I will follow Zeke. Like, what the fuck? Zeke Kitchen's like, yeah, like blah blah. And then I saw your circle, and you know what they say, like your circle, your close circle is who makes you up. So I was like, oh shit, Absolutely. He hangs out with all these guys. Like, damn, like I like approve your work, even though that sounds kind of shallow. But like, I'm like, damn, he's hanging out with these people, and like your work is you're producing is this like. God damn, like your personality must be like a superstar, whatever. And I'm so happy like to have you here because you know, like talking to the fucking podcast, like you showed what you're made out of, and you showed your journey and all this and that.
And you're still a young cat.
Yeah, you're 25.
25 years old, man.
Yeah, working on it.
And before we get to the fucking frame of the week, so you want to what's your end goal? What are you looking at?
Well, you just said he wants to have a production.
Basically, I just like to have my own production. So I don't have anything fucking crazy. Honestly.
Do you want to make your own agency?
I'd like to have it, like be able to employ people that I like working with, and not like I don't know.
That's hard though, man. I'm kind of trying that right now. Like I'm sticking my big toe into the water right now. And it's like it's hard to find people that had that same mentality as me.
That is fucking exactly where I was at too. Because like I've tried working with different people too, and like honestly, the only people I've ever really been able to work with like. That I like have that same mentality, like let's get shit done, let's like fucking do it, is Sam and Jay, honestly. Like, because most people, I'm like, they talk that talk, but they do not walk that walk. Yeah,
you can make a dope video, man, but doesn't mean you are in the same headspace that I'm in.
And I shouldn't say this. I know I should have fucking 10 minutes later. I apologize for the shit. But like people who don't like fucking show up for shit. Like I remember one time I had a shoot, and I was like, I hired this dude to come be my second shooter. Jeez. Calls me like maybe like 15 minutes before we're supposed to start. He's like, hey, I can't make it today.
Peek can relate.
I'm just like, motherfucker. I'm like, what do you mean you can't? I'm like, this is like, we knew this. Like, I scheduled this with you 3 weeks in advance. Like, you knew this date was coming. So I'm like, and I get like, if it was like some personal shit, I'm like, he didn't even give me like a solid reason of why he couldn't show up. Yeah. So I'm like, honestly, I'm like, that's cool. Do your thing. But like, I'm not going to hit you up again.
I was having this conversation with a good friend.
That makes you look bad too.
Facts.
And that's why I'm like, when I show up and like talk to clients, I don't want. Yeah, I'm like, you make me look like a fucking dickhead at that point.
Because
so I'm like,
no matter what happens, it's on you.
Yeah,
you're the quarterback.
Exactly.
You take all the glory and you take all the blame.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, I need somebody else who fucking like who gives a shit as much as I do.
That's like, something I'm realizing right now, man. Like I'm going through like this personal growth where like it's hard to find people who give a shit as much as I do.
It's so fucking
I was just telling you about this.
Yes, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine today, and we're discussing certain shit that I'm kind of going through right now as far as the business. And it's like, bro, like, yo, like from the jump, man, like you've had like a boss mentality. Like you show up on time, you show up before on time, and you make shit happen. Like there's no fucking excuse. and the people you're dealing with always have some kind of excuse. I'm like, yeah, like I don't fucking, I cannot relate with people like that have excuses.
Well,
like I don't get it.
No, it's like excuses are like assholes. Everyone has one, but they all fucking stink. Like that's just like
Yeah.
You can make up whatever fucking excuse you want. Like honestly, unless someone's given birth or you got fucking shot, like I don't like. There's no reason why you shouldn't be there on time, on the fucking dot, like where you're at. And, like honestly, for me, like when I show up to most of my shoots, I'm there like I like to be like 30, 15 minutes early.
Bro, I learned this from high school football, man. If you're there early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late.
If you're there 5 minutes early, you're on time.
And that's why I always felt the same way. I'm like I like to be there. I like to get my shit set up. I like to get a little like layout of where I'm going to be shooting at too. If I didn't already get that from like pre-production kind of stuff, but like yeah, just.
I like to sit down in the car for like 10 minutes before I walk into the door where I'm supposed to be at, and I just kind of like just chill out, and visualize what I'm gonna create, and kind of like clear my head. It's like it's like a high. It's in a weird way.
Yeah. No, that's why I like to jam out some music and just get like I like to
just relax and not feel tense and like it's gonna be a good fucking day.
Exactly. That's why I'm like I don't know. I'm very passionate about it too. So I don't know. That's why. So when other people don't match me there, I'm just like, it doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Yeah. Which I get it, but I'm like, we're not working at fucking Burger King. Right. Like we're doing some like I'm assuming if you're in this industry, because it's not always necessarily the highest paying, but the passion needs to be there. And honestly, money follows passion.
I was just having this conversation with Alberto.
Facts.
I'm having a hard time, like, because I suck with BTS. I want somebody to be there for BTS to shoot me.
Yeah.
You know, they're getting experience.
You've had people hit you up.
And then it comes to shoot.
You work with that one dude, the blonde dude.
Rafi.
Yeah, I was going to say, he fucking, like, he seems like a solid motherfucker.
He's cool.
He shot my fucking wedding.
Cool,
yeah, no shit.
So
anyway, congratulations on that too,
thanks,
bro.
He's my go-to B shooter. Yeah.
No, but Alberto's really good at like getting B shooters and like BTS. I don't if you see the fucking when it's my turn to fucking post the fucking what's
reels,
the reels cover. It's just yo, dude, can you I know you're the boyfriend of the talent, but can you just like fucking record something and I'll take screenshots of that shit.
Do you really?
Yeah, I swear to God. And I'm like, dude, like I can't get some motherfucker and yo, motherfucker, you're a creative gang member and you fucking always like. I'm actually working this weekend. I don't know. I'm like, dude, like I'm giving you a lifetime like mentorship. Like, come on, bro. Like you're a photographer. Like,
you know what you gotta do, man. You gotta cop some coin, bro. Like
we talked about this in the last.
We talked about in the last one. Yeah.
I always give like an amount.
Well, and that's I think is an important thing too, because if you're not paying the people, and that's like if anyone works with me too, I'm making sure they get paid.
No,
like
me too.
like I'm not saying you're gonna get rich off this, but like. I'm going to give you a fair amount.
It's something.
Well, and like, that was the other thing. I worked with this fucking dude. We're doing like a feature length film.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out after like our third or fourth shoot that he wasn't paying any of his actors or actresses.
Yikes.
And I was just like, that's fucking insane. Because like, we're going out to the desert. We're driving like 3 or 4 hours out there. And he's not paying these people a fucking dime. He's not feeding them. He's not giving them anything. Like,
you got to at least feed them.
Well, so like we went to the shoot, like we had like a shoot in LA. He rented out this liquor store and we went up there and we get there and he hands the girl like the model release like contact or like just like contract and so anyway she like
standard
she's like standard and she reads it, she's like nah, I'm not interested and just walks off set and he's just like, can you fucking believe that? I'm like,
yeah, I can.
Yeah, I was like, honestly, I'm surprised no one else has fucking done that to you. I'm like, you've gotten this far in your fucking film and no one's done that to you. I'm like, you should count yourself lucky because I'm like, he's kind of a fucking asshole too.
I feel like a lot of upcoming filmmakers are, I hate to say the word, but they're broke for the most part. You can't pay everyone fairly, and if you can't,
I get that. You don't have cash flow, but buy fucking pizza, buy them drinks, buy them something. Like show them you appreciate. Show them you appreciate the effort you're putting in, and also, and while they're there. Don't be a fucking dick the entire time. It's like I snapped on him one day on set because I was like, I just had enough because he was being a real asshole to the one actress, and I was like, hey, I was like you're not like I pulled him aside. I was like, why don't you go step outside, go get some air for a little bit because this was like his first like feature length film. But I'm like, you're not paying these people anything. You're not feeding them. You're not giving them gas money. You're not giving them shit. So I'm like, the least you can do is not be a fucking dick to these people. Like just treat them like human beings, like be respectful, be kind, and be like happy. Like we are out in the middle of the fucking desert, They just drove 3.5 hours here, no pay. And the least
they're coming at a loss because they're driving over there and back.
And that's what I mean. Like, and then she like pulled the actress pulled me. She's like, "Thank you for like saying that to me."
Right.
I'm like, yeah. I'm like, no problem. Like, you like, don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. Like, you have the upper hand here. Well, he's not paying you anything. He's not giving you food
unless they're paying
anything.
you millions. Even, and that's not an excuse to get treated like dog shit.
Well, and that's what I mean. Like, anytime anyone's treating me like that, don't fucking.
It's
deal
never
with
cool,
that.
but
No.
yeah.
I'm like, especially he's not giving you shit except like credit at the end of his shitty movie. I'm
And
like,
we're gonna give you IMDb credit.
exactly. I'm like, dude. Hey, like, I have people reach out for that kind of shit too.
That's so corny.
Like, I'm like, oh yeah, like my landlord just started accepting that as like fucking rent. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, no, I don't fucking do that.
Oh, sure, EBT.
Oh, it's like, yeah, your rent this month is like 1,300 exposures. There you go.
I ain't making credit though.
Yes, kids. Exposure does not pay your fucking bills, bro.
Not a fucking sin.
If I see someone's like, if someone tells me like, yo, you're gonna get a ton of love, like everyone's gonna want to work with you, I'm like, yo, that's a red flag. I'm probably gonna block you, bro.
Great opportunity for you.
Oh my god.
Now,
There's like hot keys, hot words that they say that it's like, all right, I know this is fake.
well, and that's like when you're first starting out and you don't got shit to say for your name.
That
Like,
makes
go ahead, take the chance. Because, like, what do you like? And that's why I'm like, especially when you're first starting out, take that free work. It's cool. Like, it's
try to get some scraps. Try to get $100 if that.
exactly like
At least for gas and lunch.
Well, and that's why I always try to tell people too. I'm like, yeah, if you have to travel somewhere, do something like that, like, please, like, just make sure that your shit is paid for.
Make sure they feed you.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, most of the time too, like when we're working with clients like that, like they'll take you to lunch or something. If you have I don't know, if you're doing like a 34-hour shift, like most of the time they'll like take you out to eat or get you like a fucking snack or some shit like that. But yeah, that's when you start progressing, you need to know too, like, and there's not always necessarily like a defined time, but like you need to know when it's time to be like, no, I'm not doing free work anymore. And like I still do free work if it's like for friends or something like I'm passionate about too. Like I still like a lot of like the documentaries and stuff I'm working on. I'm not making shit off that, but it's something that I care about, and like I yeah, exactly. I enjoy it. I like doing it. So like I don't mind like providing like my like skills and assets to help bring this to life.
Right.
At a certain point too, I'm like, if you do want to get serious about it in this bit, like it's a business. End of the day, like, yes, passion, you need to have passion for it, but you need to also get a paycheck, because how are you going to continue on like doing this thing without being able to fund yourself, get new gear, pay your rent, pay your fucking bills in general? Like,
yeah. So we always ask this. It's a really hard question, but when was your breaking point to where like, yo, like I'm getting tired of these snacks, I'm getting tired of these free drinks,
I want some real bread.
Yeah, give me that real bread. When was your breaking point? When did you like?
When did you realize it?
Yeah,
because I feel like there's a switch for everybody.
Honestly, I would say like within like after like the third or fourth month of like being like just stuck at home, I just was like, this is my business. Like I want to, because like you want to grow as a business too, and like yes, you can grow from like relationships and shit like that too, but like to be able to like fund yourself and be like full time doing what you want to do, you need to break away from taking the fucking small shit. Because honestly, now that I've upped my prices, and that was something that Sam definitely helped me with too. It's like helping me like price myself more appropriately. He's like, the work you're doing is like, you're not doing like some beginner style work.
Definitely not.
So he's like, you need to charge more for that. And honestly, from him, I've definitely been able to up my like, and I've gotten some like he's thrown me some jobs and shit like that too. But like, he's definitely like allowed me to increase my income from like what I like to do.
Right.
And you got to take that leap. And like, you got to decide that for yourself too. Like, there's not always going to be like, all right, as soon as you hit here, you take that leap. Like,
right.
Yeah.
And that's what one of the things that intrigued me to you, because from when Ty told me, he's like, yo, like Sam's taking like Zeke under his wing and told me like went from here to here, and I was like, what the fuck? Like what? Like I want to hear your fucking story. Like how the fuck did you become that?
By the way,
And,
guys, Sam is what is your friend? Sam is our previous guest that we had in episode 44, 45.
Yeah.
45.
Previous guest. So definitely, it's a heater.
Check it out.
Yeah, check him out. He's a good fucking dude.
What were we saying?
But that's what intrigued me to you, because I was like, man, like, what the fuck? Like, bro, like, Ziki's hanging out with... And by chance, I met Sam and Ty,
Just
blah, blah, blah.
spot luck.
Yeah. Like, I remember Berto telling me, like, what the fuck, fool? You having a secret, like, meeting or what? I'm like, no, bro, like, this is happening, like, out of the blue. I felt a little intimidated by Sam. And then I was like, what the fuck? But they were, like, hell of cool guys. Their energy matched my energy.
Yeah.
And then I was like, man, like Zeke, we featured him. I definitely want to have him. I want to hear your story. So from there, you had the epiphany. You just like your third, fourth month, you come to the epiphany of like, you got to raise your prices.
It's time to grow.
I have a little pushback. I'll play devil's advocate because there's some. I'm the king of this shit, bro. What about to that creator that's like, they think their worth is this much, but in reality, their work doesn't show that much. It's really in that area, and they start charging a little bit crazy when they. I'm like, fam, you're not there yet.
Well, and that's like, I think what you're talking about, the whole like Gary V era of kind of fucking people that are like.
And I'm not gonna lie, I think a lot of them is because they listen to this fucking Potter, but it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Like, just because you bought a fucking stabilizer for your cell phone doesn't not like.
Because you own an A7 III doesn't mean you're worth.
I spent 2 G's, man. I'm gonna raise my prices. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's. There are a lot of people out there like that are just like they
think they're hotshot.
Well, and that's
they get 1,000 views on Instagram. They're like, oh fuck, I'm lit.
You need to be fucking humble when you're starting off on this shit. Like you're like, yeah.
Don't let your Instagram numbers dictate your value.
Well, and that's why I think a lot of people get caught up on the numbers. Like, I want the followers, I want the likes, I want the views, and that's great. But if your profit isn't matching that, like honestly, go suck a dick. Like that's fucking like that's so like that's like yeah, like anyone I can like fucking sit there and be like, oh yeah, man, I'm like. I got like 800 likes. I got like 1,000 fucking views on this video.
Like,
yeah,
that's not shit. Like, go like if you really want to make a fucking difference. Like, if you're not hitting like fucking like I don't know, like
fam. I know people that are making 6 figures that have like 600 followers, bro. Well, I'm not even fucking capping on that shit. That's real.
I can attest to that.
And that's like there's this one lady I really like working with. She's I think her Instagram name's Liz Ream Stylist or something like that. She is one of like she does not like a photographer or videographer, but she does like set design, like just like production design, that kind of stuff like that. And she has like she doesn't even have 1,000 followers, but she is working with like brands like Nike. She's working with like she's working with Petco, like shit like that. Where I'm like, so like don't let like your number of followers and shit discourage you, because it's not all about that. It's really not all the fucking.
So true. I know I worked with a director of photography before, who works with fucking Mercedes, Nikes, all these high-end brands that you could think of that we all wear.
Yeah.
Fam only has like 200 followers, my guy. But gets like 20 likes per post, my guy.
Alberto, we talked about this Charger guy. Has like 200 followers. It's private. I had to fucking request him, and he accepted me. I'm like, this guy's probably making a good amount of money. And he's working for the fucking Chargers, making their content, and it's fucking lit. Yeah, and I'm like, it doesn't matter about that. It's like
people.
I feel like the shit you're putting out. Really,
and at the same time, we do want. We can't lie. We do want our numbers to be bigger than we have. Like,
of course.
But at the same time, it's like, dude, let your work speak for itself, man. Yep. It's like, just because you have 10,000 followers does not mean you're a fucking great artist, or let alone a great human being.
Hell no.
Well, so like, I'll post shit that I like. I post shit that I like, stuff that I've done that I like, and I'll put that on there. I'm like, if you fuck with it, cool. If you don't, I don't care.
Let me tell you this. Have you ever had the experience where like you've worked so hard on an edit and you're like, man, like I'm gonna get so many likes, and you get the fewest likes, but when you post like shit,
the time
you post shit, it's like, man, whatever, right? Well, half-assed this shit,
slaps,
and then it slaps. It's like your best work. I was like, what the fuck?
Honestly,
I really tried on that.
Same with like the mushroom shit I've been making too. I was like, I was not expecting that like to be shit, and then like people were like, hit me up and were like, wow, that was like cool. I'm like, I was just making that. I was fucking stoned on my couch just making some shit. I was like, and you guys thought it was cool, so I'm like, that's cool with me. I'm like, I had fun making it. So yeah.
Well, dude, thank you for being here and sitting with us. One last question before you take off.
Let's go.
Give us one horror client story that you got in the vault. I'm sure you have a few out there. We all do, but give us Give us a juicy one, man. You don't have to drop names. You don't have to drop numbers unless you feel comfortable throwing the numbers out there for the viewers out there. But give us something juicy.
All right. Yeah.
Pause, by the way.
Honestly, I would say like 90%. Well, I would say even more than that. Like most people I work with, cool as shit. Like they're nice fucking people. Like, and I'm like, yeah, like I do contracts and stuff like that. But like most of the people, I shake their hand and that word is bond. Like that shit's cool.
No,
but sure. You get those people and that taught me that like you need to have a contract. Like you need
no
to have
matter what gig, no matter if it's a $50 gig or a $10,000 gig,
just fucking make a contract. Just do it because you're gonna cover your ass and you're gonna cover their ass too, whether they know it or not. But like it keeps everyone.
They never know it, but
yeah,
when shit hits the fan, is like, yo, look at that document that you signed.
Hey, we never got that picture with my grandma. Your photo shot list and to see a picture with your grandma that covers you.
Boom.
I was deciding between two. I found so the one when I first moved out here, I wouldn't necessarily call myself like a religious man, but like I would go to church, and that's actually like how I kind of like got into videography and stuff as well. Okay. Like working through the churches, and like I worked at this really cool church, and like not worked, but like I volunteered at this really cool church in Huntington Beach, where I was like. Got to work with like fucking jibs and like all sorts of
crazy productions, bro.
Dude, it was
holy crap.
I was 15, so I was like, I'm getting to work with like all this like crazy ass equipment, so I thought it was cool. But
anyway, it's insane at the churches, bro.
It's
shout out to Dominguez. He does a lot of photography for our local church.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah. So I so that's how I got my start in like with like doing like videography and stuff too. Well, that's kind of like what like fueled that. But anyway, like when I moved out here, I was living over in North Park, and I was going to this church that was like not even a block away from my apartment. So I was going there, and I was working with this guy, and I was almost at his name. I don't give a shit.
You're gonna drop names, bro.
Fuck you, Jeff. I'm just gonna. Anyway, I was working with this fucking dude. He was like the director at the church and stuff like that. He was like, well, not the director, but he was like the director of the tech team at the church. So I was working with him, doing video stuff and learning from him. And he hit me up the one day. He's like, I got this family that I was going to shoot do their like first communion or some shit like that with. So I showed up to the shoot, and they're like, hey, can you do photos too? And I was like, yeah, I can do photos, but I'm like, it would be like an extra charge because like originally they just hired me to do video.
Standard protocol.
Well, exactly. I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking do double the work for fucking the same price. Like that's even at the time that was still beginning, but I was like, I'm not fucking stupid,
right?
But like, so I did it. I did the photos and I did the video, and I turned everything over to them in less than like 48 hours. And they were like,
pretty insane. That's pretty insane.
And they're like, oh, like I love this. Like this looks great. Like we love the photos. We love the video. It's awesome. So I was like, and at the time I was like, so they paid me for the photos up front, and then I was still waiting
as like a deposit or
as like so they paid me for the photos, and I was still waiting. So Jeff was supposed. Oh, I said this fuck you, Jeff, again. Well, like so he was supposed to pay me up front. Well, not pay, he's supposed to pay me for the video portion of this project. So we were like, I was waiting on that, and then. It was like 2 weeks went by. And he told me he sent the check out. I was like, hey, I still haven't got anything in the mail. I was like, I don't know if it got lost or if I just still haven't got anything. He was like, oh, it's just out there. It's coming your way.
Full of shit.
So, and that's why I was like, all right, whatever. And I was like, it was only it was like.
What year is this? Can I ask?
So a couple of years ago. This is like
Venmo's been out for like 10 years at this point.
Exactly. Well, and then this is the other thing.
Cash App, Apple Pay.
Well, and this
PayPal.
It was around the same time as my birthday, so I was getting cards from like family in Pennsylvania. I'm like, so how the fuck am I getting a card from these people on the East Coast quicker than you? That's like
20 miles away.
Exactly. So no, I'm like that's. So I was like something seems weird. So I was like, I let it go. Like 2 weeks passed, and then I hit him up again. It was like. Almost a month later.
Are you hitting him up via text or?
I hit him up via text. I was like, hey, I still haven't got anything. I'm like, do you know what's going on? He's like, no. I'm like, fuck it. I'm like, I'm gonna reach out to the people I shot for. So I was like, hey, I was like, you guys can keep the photos. You guys paid me for all that, but I'm like, I do have to take the video down because I'm like, I still have not been paid for that.
What do you mean by take the video down?
So I just had it on Google Drive. Nothing like they still haven't they didn't even download it yet.
How do you know that? Does it notify you?
It doesn't notify me, but they were like,
because I use Google Drive and I never got to that.
No, I was gonna say like they were just like I think they just like honestly a lot of time that's why I tell people I'm like I will host your files for like 30 to 60 days, and then just download them. Like, if you need them after that, obviously you can hit me up and like, I'll put it on there. But I'm like, I'm gonna take it down after that because I'm like,
storage. You got to save for that.
Well, so I'm like, I'm not.
It costs money.
And that's why I'm like, I'm not your iCloud. Like, that's I'll give you the content, and I'll give you like 60 days to get to the content, but like, I'm not gonna be hosting your files for you, basically. Right. So I did that, and like the lady was like, "Oh my gosh," she's like, "Well, I already gave him the money." And I was like, "Well, he hasn't paid me a dime for the video yet." So I'm like, I'm still waiting on that shit. So I was like, and she's like, "All right, she Venmo'd me right away." She's like, "Do you have like Venmo, Cash App? Like, let me pay you right now." So she paid me right away, and she's like,
"Oh, so she's with the shits when it comes to technology payment at this point."
Yeah, she was cool. She was like, I was like, "You don't have to do that." She's like, "No, please, let me pay you."
That's
like, I want to make like nice of her. Yeah, and that's why I was like, I'm not expecting that at all. But like, so here, this guy, he like worked for a real estate company. I guess these were one of his clients, and I got him in some fucking hot water because he called me. He was like, "You motherfucker, you have no passion for it." It's like, money always comes, but you're always just fucking worried about the money. I'm like, it's $300 fucking dollars. Give me my I'm like, why? Like, you're a grown ass man. Why do I have to chase you down for $300? That is,
and you should have lied to me. You said you sent it, and you never did.
But like, and the thing is, I'm like, you already were paid before I even started that shoot. So I'm like, because they were like, they were very they were honest as shit, and they actually hired me for like a couple jobs after that too. Because
awesome.
Yeah, but like, so yeah, like,
ended up working out for you.
It ended up working out. It was cool, man. Like, yeah, like, so he was like all fucking flipping out on the phone with me, and I was like, I just was like, look, like, you didn't pay me. I've been waiting over a month. I'm like, I've gotten cards from the East Coast quicker than I've gotten a check from you. So I was like,
fuck you, Jeff.
Yeah, fuck you, Jeff. You just sack of dicks. No, I'm like, well, yeah, like, I just like, I was like, it's not like,
I'm not asking for an arm and a leg. I'm asking for $300.
And also, I'm like, we shook hands, and I'm like, I did the job. I completed the job in less than like 2 days, and I'm like, I
consider that a premium turnaround, which costs a little extra.
Yeah, and that's why I was like trying to be cool, but I was just like, you still haven't fucking paid me, man. I'm like, and that was usually like the passion, but I'm like, it's not about that. I'm like, I
was like, the passion was shown when I've turned it in 48 hours. Well, that's the passion,
and that's why I was like, if I like, yeah, like, if we agreed to do the job and I was just trying to do it for like some like experience and shit, whatever. But I'm like, we shook hands on it. You gave me a price, and I was like, okay, I can do that for you. And then you don't pay me for it. Well, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Because like, I keep asking you, and you keep saying it's in the mail, but I'm like, only thing is, most banks you go to check, I'm like,
your passion ain't paying for your rent, bro.
Exactly. I'm like, I you can see I didn't cash that check, and then after that he's like, you sure you didn't cash it? He's like, and he was like giving me a hard time, like acting like. So, like, basically, like, acting like I got double paid for the job. But
right.
Like,
now you're the a-hole.
And then I was like, dude, cancel whatever fucking check you send me. I don't want a fucking dime from you. And I was like, do not contact me again. And then after that, I've never talked to him after that.
But so, yeah. Jeff, fuck you.
Fuck you, Jeff.
Jeez.
Man, there's some slime. There's some slime balls out there, bro.
Like, you're a grown ass man. You can't pay me $300.
Yeah,
like,
it's nothing.
Honestly,
bro.
you got some fucking. Like, I don't know. I don't want.
He's clearly got some issues going on in his
budget
end.
Was tight.
Budget was tight. Yo, man, we got a little bit more time, man. Give us a second story, bro, of the customer of the horror story of the clients.
All right, so I worked with this lady.
Let's make it quick, though.
Yeah, I got you.
Greasy shit.
She was she was like a private chef, and we agreed. I was like, and this was also when I was like first.
This is in San Diego.
San Diego too.
Fuck San Diego, bro.
I want to fucking say her name, but I won't do it.
We're gonna keep it respectful.
You fucking know. I might say your name at some point. I don't give a shit, but like, whatever. Like, so we agreed. I was like, I'll come out and I'll shoot 2 to 3 videos for you. I'll do like 2 days maximum like shooting for you, and I'll do like 1,000 a month.
Damn.
I'll come out and like, and
so retainer. You had a retainer.
Retainer, yeah.
Gotcha.
So basically,
what kind of food?
Yeah, like I said, I'll do like some. I did like some like product photos and stuff for her too.
That's pretty fair.
Well, I was gonna say like for like starting out too. I was like, and she was also like, she's like an hour and a half away. So I was like, I think that's like
from San Diego.
From San Diego, yeah.
From San Diego to where?
Bro,
is it too much information?
She was out east, like a little bit, like towards like desert area.
Gotcha.
Shit, bro.
So humble.
So anyway, honestly, like when I said,
Hey,
she's like,
fucking.
she was like a private chef too. And like I'm like the first couple.
Ziggy, stop! Wait, don't fucking incriminate you, bro.
She like fucking like bugs.
Just stop, bro.
She had like fucking cockroaches coming. Like I'm like, you package food here and there's fucking bugs. I'm like, I'm taking a piss and there's like a cockroach crawling my nutsack. I'm like,
bro, can I tell the story? You already know where I'm going with this fucking story.
Okay, so
yeah,
you agreed to X amount of videos, which is 2 for.
I said like 2 to 3 a month for 1,000. And one, I would say I did like I would.
And are these videos like micro videos, or are they like full YouTube scale, like 4 to 5 minutes, or what? Are we talking?
They're like I was doing like 3 4 to 5 minute like videos.
1 camera production, 2 camera production.
Bro, so like
it's just too much information to give out.
The one day I went there,
no, because the more cameras, the more work it takes to like.
Well, we just did a 2 camera setup.
Okay, it's solid.
The first
could
time
be a little bit more for sure.
We did. I'm not exaggerating. We did 28 takes of the fucking intro, and she was like, "I don't like how I look," and it kind of like tying back to what we were talking about before. I'm like, I can't fucking change how you look. Like that's how you look. That's how you sound. Like I'm not a fucking like I'm not
a magician.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like I can't change how you look and sound. Like that's you. That's you
you have a shoot in a month. You would think you lay down the cheeseburgers and shit. I'm like,
bro, stop, bro. What's that?
And she did. She had over a month to prepare for her
there
final
you go,
shoots.
man. You can drop weight in a month so
bro.
quick.
We lost like 10 followers, bro. Yo, please buy something out of this fucking link subscription, bro, to make up for Berto's fucking blabber. Okay, so
it's all facts, no feelings, bro.
So
you agree to this. You agree to the number, and she's making you do some magic shit. She thinks you're the dark magician and shit like that.
Yeah. Well, basically, like, what happened is like, so I came in, I shot her first 3 videos for her. We did everything.
Okay.
And then she hit me up for like 2 or 3 weeks, and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of."
Did you deliver the content?
I delivered the content to her already, but no, I'll get into that in a second. But like, so I delivered the content, put everything on Google Drive, and then I saw like 3 weeks later she posted something that someone else shot, but I was like, our initial agreement was like I was going to be your like content
exclusive
guy. Yeah, like exclusive content guy. Like I'm going to shoot your videos, photos, whatever you fucking need.
You're
so I was like,
what the fuck?
Yeah, so I saw that and I reached out to her. I was like, hey, I was wondering, I saw you were like shooting with someone else, but I was like, we agreed to like our deal here. So I was like, I was going to say, I'm like, do you like still want me to come out? She's like, oh, like my friend agreed to like he would shoot and edit it for free. And I was like, all right, well, I'm like, but that's like not what we agreed to. So I was like, whatever. Like, but I'm like, also, I'm like, if you would have reached out to me before and said like, hey, my friend reached out to me to say, I'm like, I would have been a little salty. Don't get me wrong, but I'm like,
you showed us some balls though.
I could accept that.
Yeah.
Like I would be like, from a business standpoint, like if someone's gonna make you that shit for free, like whatever, do your fucking thing.
It makes sense.
And then so like anyway, she was like, yeah. So when she's like, so then I actually took like her product photos and stuff for her too. And she then she hit me up like maybe like 4 or 5 days later, and she was like, hey, I didn't get a chance to download all the stuff, blah blah blah. And I was like. She's like, hey, I didn't get all the photos, and I'm missing a video. And I was like, word. I was like, well, you paid me for like half the month so far. So I was like, when you give me the other half of the month, I was like, I'm more than happy. And also,
you're protecting yourself.
Well, I left it up there for 2 months, and she didn't take like out of the 2 months.
She's bugging then.
Well, and that's why I was like, and at that point, I'm like, I already took it down because I'm making room for clients that are actually like fucking paying me for my work. So I'm like, I was like, if you can pay the other half of the month, I'm happy to put the content back up. But like. If not, like...
Sounds respectful.
Well, and that's why I'm like, I'm not trying to be a dick to you, but I'm like, also, you kind of like just fucking took a shit on my chest here. So I'm like, well, what do you want me to fucking say to you about this? Like, so she was like, well, we only did like 2 shoots or something like that. But I'm like, yeah, but like we agreed on 2 to 3 shoots a month plus photos. And I'm like, I delivered you 2 videos. Actually, I did like a little clip for like social media. So I was like, so I'm like, so you
That's
got
3.
like, yeah, it's like you got your 3 videos, and you got all your product photos that you're like selling on your website with. So I'm like, yeah, if you pay me the rest of the month, like I'll put the other shit back up there, and then we're cool. And then she's just like,
goddamn, so you delivered 3 already, and the photos, and she wanted more.
Well, and she already had, and like, and she wanted more, but I'm like, one, like we discussed 2 to 3.
But you went overboard,
and I went overboard.
It's as a creator, like I catch myself over delivering most of the time,
and I think it's good too to under promise, over deliver for everything.
Facts.
But like I just when she said that, I was just like, I'm like, if you want to pay the rest of the retainer I had for the month, sure, I'll put it back on there for you. But she was like, never got back to me, so I'm like, well, like I don't give a shit. Like you're already like, I'm just gonna take what you gave me already, and I'm gonna walk away from this. And now I learned something, and now I know I need to have contracts for whoever I work with.
Always, man. Always contracts, bro. Contracts, bro.
And like Alberto says, like 50% contract, bro.
50% deposit.
Well,
and then I mean, you always
50% deposit all the time. But like, it's just like, I don't know. Like it just keeps having a contract keeps everybody on track.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it keeps everybody on check before we go to the week.
There is no gray area of like, I thought we talked about. Read the contract. I wrote it in plain English too.
Exactly.
Yeah, and before Alberto gets to front of the week, we've always said 50% minimum. Before I was a big go-getter of like 20%, like whatever. But no, it's like it's your booking time that you're scheduling, and
and they take your time more seriously.
Yeah, so I'm like, yo, bro, like this is 50% because if you cancel, like I cancel the shoot,
and that's what I mean too. That's why I'm like, I want that 50% because I'm like, then that's gonna make sure you're gonna show for the time or shoot. Like you're gonna keep that time dedicated to me and you to shoot,
keep it committed.
And then because otherwise I could have booked somebody else or like maybe
and
even
it's
like
something that
they
do not realize, which we need to educate them on. So something I do, it's like if they were to hypothetically cancel on me,
and if there's like a family emergency or some shit, I'm very understandable with that. But I'm like, if you're just like, I just don't feel like shooting today.
I forgot.
Well, they're not gonna say that. They're gonna say my dog got hit by a car.
Yeah, so they're gonna. Make
so
up
what I
shit,
say, it's like, okay, cool. Like there's gonna be a penalty fee for that. Unfortunately, I hate being this way, but a lot of companies do that shit. So it's like I have 50% of the deposit.
Yeah.
50% on top of that deposit, which is 25 total. I keep it's non-refundable. So if you do cancel on me, I'll give you the rest of the deposit. I'm gonna give you half of the deposit back.
Yeah, that's
but I keep 25% of it.
50% is non-refundable for me. I do that all the time now because then like either you're gonna like
commit
or like I'm just gonna take that half.
Word.
Yeah, and that's like most of the time you're gonna get people to commit. Yeah.
Well, let's get to frame of the week, guys. So I saw this photo, or not even photo. I saw this video today. What do you think about this shit, bro? You'll see here in front of Zeke's face. For all the viewers on YouTube, if you are on Apple or Spotify, make sure you hit the YouTube link and take a look at this freaking.
That's clean as fuck.
Yeah. I think he's from San Diego.
No, he's from Canada.
Oh fuck, Canada,
Venezuela.
Another Canadian dude, man. Dude. Like, so for those that are, So the caption is, "Been a while since I made a basketball mixtape style video, but we back, and I think I still got it." No cap, bro. You got that shit, bro.
You fucking got it, man.
So at 77, Jay Morales, shouts to you, bro. Like you fucking killed it. Oh, he even gives us the gear link, or not link, but list. Camera A7S3, the dream camera that I want.
Yeah.
Lens Tamron 20-75, f2.8, which I have, and the Zeiss 55 1.8, which I also own as well. Ooh. Filters Tiffin, a Black Pro Mist. Oh man,
I love that Black Pro Mist.
So fire, and a free will variable ND as well. So the fact that he gave he gave you all the goodies right here, man. So make sure you guys check that shit out, man. It's gonna be fucking.
That's cool.
Hey, 77, Jay Morales, appreciate you supporting the podcast, man. We got viewers everywhere, bro.
Yeah, you know what I've been wanting to do is where like it focuses on the face and it just like follows them.
The tracking.
Yeah. That shit's cool. Yeah. What was that Nike commercial or some shit they did that with like I think it was
the headphones that LeBron James made, and then Justin Odisho broke it down like the week after.
Well, he broke it down on fucking Final Cut.
Yeah, but there's a plugin, and you could also do it on After Effects. It's not that hard. I just never. It's just tedious shit. It's like masking in a way where you have to do keyframes and shit like that. But
shout out to you, bro.
Zeke, where could people find you, man?
You can find me at Zeke Kitchen on Instagram, ZekeKitchen, just like the
website.
Your fucking last name.
And website's www.visualsbyzekekitchen.com.
Awesome. Where can people find you at?
PeterCollinFrames.com. PeterCollinFrames on Instagram. Where can they find you, bro?
And people can find me on A_Mendoza on Instagram and AlbertoVigils.com.
Guys, this is going to do it for episode number 47.
47. Zeke, dude, appreciate you being
Thank
here,
you guys.
bro.
Appreciate
Seriously,
it,
man. I love the conversation we had, dude. It was a really
we
good
keep going, but anyways, this is gonna do it for episode number 47 of In the Frame podcast. Alberto Mendoza, your fucking co-host. Zeke, I'm sorry,
Zeke Kitchens.
Zeke Kitchen, his real fucking last name. Our guest.
Yo,
I can't even fucking talk.
Go to sleep, bro. Go to sleep.
This is gonna do it for episode number 47. We'll catch you on 48.
Peace.
On episode 48.
Peace.